Hi, Aashta, and welcome to today's show, Radiant Realization with Namrata.
Hi, Namrata. Thank you so much for having me here. And I'm really excited, looking forward to this conversation today.
I'm excited to have you, Aashta, really. And I'm excited for the topic that is being selected for today's talk. The magic lies in embracing who we are. I would say, over a period of time, from my own experience, I started aping other people from the outfit that I would love wearing, from the way I would carry, or from hobbies that I would pick up. And I think COVID phase was a phase of self introspection for me, where I realized that what is my originality or what is my liking. And for those reasons, I feel this topic, embracing who I am, is extremely close to my heart. And I would really thank you for selecting this topic.
My pleasure. And I just love the smile and the glow that I see on your face as you're talking about it, which just tells me, how deeply it has impacted you. I mean, you've gone through that journey of, embracing yourself. Yes.
Okay, so I would like to hear from you, Asta. What according to you, it truly means to embrace ourselves, like who we are?
I don't know what it truly means, Namrita, but for me, it's just like you were mentioning, it's a very, very profound and the reality of my life. Most of us, a lot of us, but for me, that's pretty much been the journey of my life. So when you talk about embracing who you are, I think in a very simple language, it is about being comfortable and accepting yourself just the way you are, with all the imperfections, with whatever it is that's there, being comfortable in your own skin. And interestingly, it's a journey, I would say, a journey until you die. That's how, it looks like to me, because, you know, uh, each day you may get, when you're on this journey, each day you keep getting better and you get more and more comfortable, and that's how it is. But I think just to be able to accept your own self and be comfortable with who you are, that's what it is.
Yes. And what I felt like once I started accepting myself, like accepting myself for the dark circles that I have, for the glasses I wear, or for my Bugs Bunny teeth, I can laugh at it. Like during my school days, I was always teased, like for 13, 14 years, for my Bugs Bunny teeth. But today, I make fun of myself, and I feel that is the power that you get when you embrace yourself.
So true.
So, Asta, by embracing, how does an individual derive fulfillment or happiness by being authentic to their own self?
um I feel um we are also, as a society, I mean, I'm just kind of going a little off track, and then I'll connect to this question of yours. But as a society, there are so many stereotypes, and there's such a strong conditioning around how you should be or how you're supposed to be. And most of us lead our lives in the zone of supposed to. I'm supposed to be this, I'm supposed to do this. And as an individual and in different roles that we are in. So, as a colleague, I'm supposed to be like this. As a wife, I'm supposed to be like this. As a daughter, I'm supposed to be like this. As a mother, I'm supposed to be like this. So, we're in that zone always, And that, if you see, the journey starts with for all of us as little children, little kids, And as little kids, there's practically nothing, there's no thinking also. It's just as is. So we are just being our authentic selves. If I really say what it means to be your authentic self, it's who children are, who we were as children, who you and me were. So as children, just the way we were. And then when we start to get into that conditioning, we start to pick our beliefs and they start to govern us, then we start, then all those barriers keep coming in, and then we start to show up in a certain way, all of that. Now, in this process, I am getting more and more disconnected with my true self. What's my true self? That little child that I am. That child who's happy, who's super excited, who's joyous, who's jumping, and there's nothing that can stop that little child, right? And now here I am with all my barriers. This is how I'm supposed to be. This is how I'm not supposed to be. Where did this come from? And even if it came from, if that's my natural state, that happiness is a natural state, the joy is a natural state, the excitement is a natural state. The more I go away from my natural state, how can I be fulfilled, So why do I lose out on that fulfillment, or why do I feel fulfilled when I am embracing myself? Is because when I embrace myself, I reconnect with my essence, with who I really am. And when I reconnect and I live like this is who I am, no facade, no mask, I'm just that. No burden, nothing. It just leaves you so fulfilled because that's who you are. So, yeah, that's the natural state.
So why would people not stay in this natural state? Is there any barriers that they don't see to achieve this state?
Yeah, like I said, the way our brains are designed, we are constantly creating beliefs, picking up beliefs. And these beliefs come from, of course, they start as early as when we are little children, from the time that we start to understand, and we start picking up these beliefs. So something happens and we attach a meaning to it, and a belief is formed. And that just becomes my filter or my lens to view the world, right? And it's a natural process. It's a process that I cannot stop creating beliefs. And these beliefs then start to govern my life. So I'm not doing it willingly. It's unknowing. It's on auto mode. I don't even know, right? So something that my mom said, or my dad said, or some auntie said, or some teacher said, and they may have had an altogether different intention or no intention, and I picked up a belief. How my brain interpreted it, how the meaning that I attached to it was a very personal thing. But that became a belief for me. And then you start, every time you run that belief again and again, again and again, it just becomes stronger. And that takes people away from their natural state. So, to your question, it's just happening unknowingly, subconsciously. People are not doing it willingly, they're unaware.
So, what role self-awareness play in this belief formation?
Lack of awareness is what is causing, or why, people are just surviving. So beliefs, they're forming beliefs, they are living in that zone of beliefs. They're showing up, acting, behaving, all from that belief system. So for example, just to give you an example, how it works, how the beliefs work. For me, one of the strongest and the recurring beliefs that I had was I'm not good enough. Okay. And this is a belief a lot of people carry. From what I hear from my clients, and a lot of these people, they say, oh, yeah, even I feel that, Aashta. So I'm not good enough. And I could also trace it back to when I picked it up. So back when I was like a 5, 6 year old child in a classroom, and I was my usual self, all excited to answer a question, and teacher asked something, and it was something like, who's the prime minister, president of India, or something like that. And I jumped like I want to answer. And I got the chance. And I answered. And the next thing I remember, that the class was laughing, which means I answered incorrectly. So For me, in that moment, the way my brain interpreted it was, you couldn't answer something as simple as this, so you're not good enough. Now, I didn't say those exact words, but the feeling that I had in that moment was exactly in sync with this. You're not good enough. Itna sa nahi kar pai. You're not up to the mark. And the meaning that my brain attached to it was, till the time you are sure of what you're speaking, don't speak, else insult ho jayegi. So don't speak unless you're sure, insult, equal to insult. So connection was formed here. Now, all through my growing up years, this one thing that I created, I kept nurturing it because I kept running it and rerunning it, that I'm not good enough, I'm not good enough. And therefore, your beliefs lead to your thoughts. So my thoughts were always, how do I fit in? How do I prove myself? I don't want the world to know I'm not good enough. तो क्या करूं कि मैं इनके बीच में फिट हो जाऊं कि लोग बोले वाओ आस्था इज अमेजिंग एंड देयरफॉर अगर ये थॉट्स थे, so I was always feeling anxious in the sense, even if I'm my confident self, you would see me as my confident self, but that's just a coping mechanism. I'm within me, there's a turmoil, I'm just feeling anxious. How do I show up? How do I show up? And then my actions were always very, very calculative, very restrictive. Should I say this? Should I not say this? Will this sound intelligent? Or will people think she's so dumb? Will this question sound intelligent or not? So that, and therefore my expression went for a toss. And I'm sure you will understand, it is the biggest pain when you're not able to express yourself, when you know there's something and you're not speaking. So there's a gap between yahan kya hai and what's coming out. And for me, that had kind of become the norm. So, uh, so that's how these beliefs play. And that's how we are living from these beliefs. And there are so many of these. Till the time we die, we will be creating beliefs. We're all doing that. So that's beyond my control. So there's no point sulking over that. Oh, I don't want these beliefs. How do I stop it? No, I mean, I can do nothing about it. But when you brought in self-awareness, because there is no awareness, nobody ever told me, I have no idea this is how my brain operates. So I'm just living on survival mode. This is the reality for me. I'm not good enough, right? Or this X person is this. That's the reality. And we just start to live in that basis our experiences. But self-awareness helps me see what's happening here. What triggers me? Why do I behave the way I'm behaving, right? When I learn more and more about myself, because I'm aware about what's happening here, that is when I can look at changing that. That is when I can even question that, that which is not serving me. Oh, do I want to keep this? This is not serving me. And that's when I can really do something about it. So that's the role of self-awareness, and it does take practice.
Agree. And self-awareness is probably which takes like lot of introspection, right? Lot of introspection.
Yeah. I'd say, Namrita, maybe introspection also comes in, it's a later stage to even get aware is like I would say a big achievement, if I practice, because out of 10 times, maybe if I start to bring in awareness, I'll do it maybe once and then maybe twice. 8 times, I'll still miss out, I'll be on auto mode. It just happens in a jiffy. And after it's done, I realize, oh, what happened. So to get aware right in that moment, what's happening here? Or I'm just feeling scared, I'm nervous. Okay, what's the sensation like, right? Or what about this person triggered me right now? Why am I even getting angry? And then, so the why and all that analysis can come in later. But I think the first stage of even getting aware that this is happening with me right now is a big deal. I think it's a huge one.
Yes. And drawing from your conversation, Asta, during your school days, just because the other classmates laugh at your response, you felt that you are not good enough. So does that mean the societal pressure leads to a stage where we stop embracing who we are, like we stop accepting who we are.
Yeah, interesting. I'll bring in two aspects here. One, if I go back to my case, in that one instance, if I were to ask you, Namrata, if you were one of the my classmates sitting there, what would you have thought of me? What would you have thought if I wasn't able to answer?
I think all during our school days, the only thing we knew was to laugh when somebody said anything.
Okay. So, but what would have been your thought around this event that I'm not able to answer the question?
She does not know.
She
She's
does
not
not know.
intelligent.
She's not intelligent, right? So I asked a lot of other people that maybe if you were in that position, so some said, I would have just thought, big deal. Next time I'll answer. Somebody said something else. Interestingly, it's not a one size fits all that, oh, everybody who's in that situation, if Namrata is going through that or anybody else who's going through that, is going to feel exactly the same. So, what we are picking up, and that is why, can I take responsibility for the meanings that I'm attaching? I've not done that intentionally, right? But I've created that somewhere. Yeah. Somebody said something, they laughed. When they laughed, nobody told me, hey, you're not good enough. Even if somebody comes, walks up to me and says, hey, Aashta, I don't think you're good enough. To take it or not to take it is my choice. So one part of it is the beliefs that we're picking up. Who's creating that? I'm creating that, right? I'm attaching the meaning or the interpretation. And that interpretation is very, very unique. Each of us interprets things very differently. Same situation, two people will have different interpretations. And that's how the beliefs are different. So one part is each of us doing it individually. Bringing the society aspect of it and certain stereotypes and certain strong conditioning that you're supposed to score, or you should be doing this, or all of those, yes, they are there, and they do have an impact for sure. They do have an impact. um yes, that, and if you see today who we are, the belief system that we are carrying, a big chunk of it is our conditioning, the way we were brought up. So if my mother believes, like I know for a fact that I'm very finicky about everything being organized in my home, things being in proper place, like finicky. I just get restless if it's not happening. And my husband, my daughter, not that particular about it. Where did I pick that up? I've always seen my mom do that. She's been very particular, and I just took it from her, right? And then a lot of other such things, where my mom was very particular about, studies or maybe a certain way of thinking. Until a few years back, I saw there were quite a few things that were governing me, which were what I had picked up from my mom. So, the way you've been brought up, certain things that you pick up from the environment, what other people are saying, the experiences that you've had. There's so many things. And when we say society, it is basically what we hear, what's happening in the environment, how we've been brought up. All that has a massive, massive impact, because that's what we are listening, and subconsciously it's just there. It's getting into my head. ऐसा होगा तो ये लड़की अच्छी है. I was the way people would remember me is ladki ho to Aastha jaisi, because she's so sincere, she's such a lovely girl. And why she's such a lovely girl? Because I was busy playing that game of being that sincere and sweet girl, because that's the way for me to get the love and validation. I'm supposed to be sincere. I am not supposed to indulge in anything which is the so-called notorious kind of thing. You just be very, very sincere. That was such a strong conditioning for me. So yes, all kinds of these things, these stereotypes and these societal, beliefs do impact people in different ways and at different levels. Yes.
So, Asa, if we accept who we are, will it help us build connection with other people easily, or it will act as a hindrance when we reach out and try to establish relationship with strangers?
One thing that I've observed, Namrata, um, people, if we've been taught to wear these masks and we're doing that. And actually, under people are craving for authenticity. It's painful to wear a mask and then live by it. I mean, it was painful for me to put up that facade and be this sincere girl and all, but I had no access कि और भी कोई तरीका हो सकता है. So people are craving and they relate. They are super happy when they see somebody who's relatable. And why is somebody relatable? Because that person is echoing, voicing the exact stuff that you are going through and you want to hear. But they don't have the courage. They don't have the courage. And sometimes they don't even have the awareness. And that's when somebody speaks up. They're like, wow, ye to meri kahani. Oh, this is exactly how I feel. Wow. And that's when they relate with that person. So I feel authenticity and which I think vulnerability is just, it comes in there as well. It helps people connect with each other, and it helps people connect in a very profound manner. Otherwise, I feel the connections are superficial. Even maybe it's two sisters, it is parents and children sometimes. If we're not being authentic, then there is a mask, chota bada whatever, but there is a mask. And when there is a mask, then two people are not reaching the real versions of each other, the core of each other. And when the cores are not connecting, then that's not a profound connection, that's a superficial one. So yes, I think authenticity definitely helps establish those real deep connects. It may take time because I'm not used to that version. So I'm like, what is this? This is antisocial, sometimes. What is this? Because it's so deeply ingrained for me to wear the mask. So I'll be like, please wear your mask. You have no business not wearing your mask. Some people are not able to take it, not because they don't want it. Without exception, we all want to be our truest versions. There's no exception to it. पर इतने साल किसी चीज की practice की है, तो that becomes hardwired. तो अभी we've forgotten that whole thing. And we've learned to live this way, I feel. That's what I was doing. So I can say. So it looks like, wow, this is such a profound one, but that's how I feel.
Unlearning takes a lot more practice than learning, is what I
Wow.
get from you.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay, so Asta, authenticity, it starts with self-acceptance, and how does it complement with self-improvement or personal development? How would you link all these aspects?
Um, Come again. Which aspects did you say?
Self-acceptance, self-improvement, personality development. How does this all link to being authentic, being embracing who we are, being
Okay.
being presenting the version that we truly are to the world?
Hmm. I think authenticity is an outcome of self-acceptance. If I am, so the first stage, it's like the first stage is awareness, where I get present to what is, I get present to what's happening, and, how are things impacting me, what's really happening, and I'm able to identify, acha, oh, this is the barrier, oh, right now this is again coming up, this is how I'm feeling. So that awareness where you just get present to what is happening. And then the next step is, once I'm aware, instead of resisting it, can I accept it? And acceptance doesn't mean agreement, that I'm saying, oh, it's all good. No, no, we're saying whatever it is, can I just be okay with it? Right? So, okay, I'm going back to my, I'm not good enough. And, I feel this and that and whatever, and I'm beating myself, and fine, but can I just be okay with it? Which means, can I accept myself with the belief system that I have, with the low self esteem that I feel, with the expression gone missing, or whatever version? When I am accepting myself, it gives me more and more power, I feel, and this is purely from my experience. When I accept, it gives me more power to be vulnerable slowly and gradually, to be able to put myself out there naked, removing the masks, and yeah, this is who I am in that sense. Now that is, if you when you talk about the improvement or the personality, I mean, directly I won't pick those up, but then yeah, improvement in the sense that I again go back to, that's the authentic version, that's the real thing, that's who I am at the core. The more I get present to that, and the more I start to play that out, like be that being, my actions start to flow from that. And there can be nothing more powerful. In my experience, the moment I started to accept myself, not the easiest thing, the more and more I do, and the journey is still on, my actions starting to flow from it, my expression flowing from it, my confidence flowing from it, all of that, it is definitely an improved version of me. Only in the sense I've not become somebody else. I have just gone back to being who I really am. I've just reconnected with Astha. This is who Astha is, and abhi kuch laga liye the idhar udhar mukhota, mask and all. I'm just removing that. And now this is who I am. I'm back to who I am. So in that sense, it's an improved version. It's more pleasant, I feel, with mask, imagine, and then the real version. So, and it's a lot more peace, a lot more calm. Doesn't mean that there are no downs, there are no breakdowns. There are a lot many. There are days, there are moments when you feel hopeless, when you again get back into, I go back to, oh God, will I be able to do this? I'm not good enough. And I go to my lowest point. But with practice, what happens is, and that will always happen. So that's the beauty of life. You go deep there, you will continue to go. The beauty of doing the work on yourself is, practicing this is, that you know how to stay there, how to navigate through it, and how to then, come out of it the other side. So maybe the time duration to snap out has reduced drastically. The patience levels have risen up. I can stay there, and just be there and feel what I'm feeling, right? And I know, this faith in universe, that this is exactly what I need to experience right now, and hence I'm doing it. So all that. So in that sense, definitely improvement in the quality of life, right? After that, the learning, the way you feel, it just feels amazing. So there. And personality development that you're talking about, the context that personality development is usually used is a very different one, which is more of those external skill set and all. But I'm what I'm feeling right now in this process of embracing yourself, being authentic, um, it brings out, it shifts your personality, because your personality is created by what you are thinking consistently. So if I was thinking I'm not good enough, and I'm living in that zone most of the time, and that's whatever I'm thinking again and again and again, if it's a lot of negative over a period of time, that becomes my personality. So if when I'm authentic and it becomes more of an optimistic one or a more empowering thought process, or I have the power to shift, I know I can make that alternative choice, then it just shifts the way I think. When that changes, then my personality shifts. So it's a different form of personality development, I would say, than the usual context.
I loved your answer, Asta. It was so insightful, so insightful. Okay, so a quick tip that I would like to hear from you. If somebody has to accept their unique qualities and not view it as a flaw, what would you recommend to them?
I would recommend practice this. So um, there's a framework that I always recommend. It's like a 4A framework. Of course, there's other stuff that is preceding it, but a 4A framework, which is first is awareness, acceptance, analysis, and alternative choice. So the first day awareness, I would say, even if you leave everything else, any change starts with awareness, right? I will change something only when I'm first aware कि अच्छा ये हो रहा है. अगर मुझे और अभी right now what is happening is it is happening, but it is happening subconsciously. I'm not even aware. From morning till night, we're living our lives, most of it subconsciously. We don't even know what we've done, right? So the first and the most important thing, which needs muscle, which needs practice, is awareness. I would say for anybody who wants to turn around their game, who really wants to step into their authentic self, start by getting aware. Aware of where all you're not being yourself. You're not being yourself. And how would you know I'm not being myself here? Uh, because it's not theory. I think feelings never lie. Your feelings, if you can learn to get present, aware of your feelings, which means every time you go back and check with yourself. In doing this, or in saying this, or in taking up this project, or in joining this job, or in doing, how am I feeling? What I've realized that I didn't even know how to listen to my body. I didn't even know. And every time my body speaks to me, how? Through the different sensations. I didn't know what the feelings. And so the moment I started to get present to the feelings, I would know, hey, I'm doing this and I'm smiling and it looks like a good opportunity. But yaha, the feeling is not as exciting. It's little fear. It's little feeling of no, there's little resistance. And that feeling never lies, which means it's an opportunity for me to reflect. Oh, there's something which is not in sync here. Because if I'm doing something which is not making sense at all logically when I apply my mind, but I'm feeling great about it, I'm feeling all charged up, I'm feeling powerful, then it's okay. Because inherently nothing is right or wrong. One choice may be great for somebody, same choice may be not working for other person. So sahi or galat to hai nahi. We are so used to classifying things as correct, incorrect, and all of that. But if I can check with myself, how am I feeling? And then that'll give me an idea. Acha, in this situation, I'm not feeling empowered. I'm feeling low. Then can I just check what's happening? And one question that I love to ask myself in doing whatever X, Y, Z, am I going against myself? In doing this, whatever I'm doing, am I going against myself? In being this, am I going against myself? And you always get an answer. Going against myself means, again, going back to the feeling, how is it making me feel? And there have been times when I've gotten the answer, yes, I'm going against myself because I just don't want to do this. But I'm so scared to even speak up. And in those moments, I think the first step I would say is to learn to get present, to get aware of all of that and just see what happens. Accepting it, analyzing where it's coming from, which means what's the belief at play, and then alternative choice, which is making an alternative choice. This is what I do usually, which is keep quiet and listen to everybody. I have another choice as well, which is in a responsible manner. Can I just put forth my viewpoint or say, maybe not? Or I want to continue. So that, but I think that is all later. It's a step-by-step thing. A big one, I'd say a big chunk of it is learning to get aware and to just experience what happens when you get aware in that moment. So to your point, that's one thing, how, and which is to keep checking with yourself, what's happening with me right now. Because when there is a situation, since I'm not used to it, I don't have any practice, I'll not instantly get aware. So how can I practice? Set a reminder, put a sticky note or something, and maybe every 1 hour, every 2 hours, sit down, just that sticky note will remind you, and you just quickly check what's happening here. What's happening? What's the thought coming in? Then that starts to get built into a habit. And when you need it in a situation, it'll come to you, that awareness.
Loud 4A framework, and definitely I'm going to use it right from the next moment onwards. Okay, so Asta, taking this further, what does authenticity mean to you personally? We spoke a lot about, but for you as a person, what does authenticity mean, and how do you recognize authenticity in other person?
That's a nice one. What does it mean to me personally? I think to me it has been, like I said, that's pretty much been my, I would say it is the somewhere the essence of life also. If I really have to reflect on this, it's the essence of life. Why? Because I remember Oprah Winfrey's this quote, and this just resonates with me, and I strongly relate with this. Not because it is a very nice quote, good to hear, but I realize this is exactly what I crave for and what I want. From lot of things that I kept hearing early on. First, it resonated at a mental, logical level, and then like every cell of my body responded to it. Yes, that's what I want. That is exactly what it is. So what she said was that the inherent purpose of all human beings, we always talk about what's my purpose? What's the purpose of being here? I want to discover my purpose, why I'm here. She says the inherent purpose of every human being is to express their highest and truest potential as a human being. Right? Which is, if you look at it, exactly. I mean, a lot of these thought leaders, and they talk about when you are here, the basic purpose is जो life मिली है उसको कैसे जीना. I mean, वो life को जीना ही तो एक purpose है पहला. अब उसका जरिया और भी कुछ हो सकता है. I'm doing this, somebody is doing a charitable work, somebody is running a business, whatever. But fundamentally, living the highest and the truest version of me, expression of me, right? And in that sense, I would say that's where authenticity comes in. So it just, if I were to look at it, then the truest version of me, the highest version of me is the more and more authentic I get. So I have realized how it links to happiness is uh, when I am being my authentic self, when I'm being my expressing, that means I am expressing my truer potential and also my higher and higher potential, which is coming from that authentic. The more I do, and that can be in different shapes and forms, the work that I'm doing at my workplace, how I'm showing up with my husband in the relationship, how vulnerable I am, how much can I see my patterns. I'm not blaming him all the time. How am I being with my child? What are the things that I'm doing, right? I'm doing things against my wishes. Everything, brings, it's about expressing my higher potential. So the day I started to draw boundaries for myself, whether it was with my daughter or my husband or any. That's my higher potential. That's me expressing and standing up for me. So expressing my higher potential. So this in purpose is, for me, it's linked to authenticity. Yeah, and that to me is the essence of life. That's where I'm living the purpose. So to me, it is about living the purpose of your life. Living your life. Yeah. And what was the other thing? How do you know
How do you? Hmm.
when people are being authentic? I think you just um I feel I'd rather like to put it the other way. All of us internally, we're fighting a jung, a battle, of I'm supposed to versus I want to. And it's massive pressure, not easy for anybody. Um, I am just hoping if I can just look for what's beautiful in other people, they may be, I can see, okay, maybe the person is not being authentic, and I don't know, he may be being authentic, maybe he's not being authentic, but fundamentally at the core, we are all same people. We are all born same. And at the core, who we want love, we want respect, we want freedom, we want to help each other, we want trust, and we want to be trusting others. This is who we are, all of us. Even somebody who's a thief, somebody who's a rapist, somebody who's a terrorist, all of us, we want this. When you see somebody who's not exhibiting, we don't do it all the time. But that's again us deviating from our core. Why do we do that? Because we have layers of belief system. No, 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 no. He's like that. I shouldn't be trusting him. Oh, he's like that. I'm not going to help him. So we have these layers of beliefs. That's exactly how people are also living. They also have their own belief systems. Agar beliefs na ho, then who we are just our core. Just love, just respect, just trust flowing. So when somebody is not doing that, including me, I'm not being my authentic self, which is who I am really. And it means nothing. All it means is that, we are in the journey, and yeah, I was once somewhere. Today I'm little ahead in the journey.
Yes. So you quoted Ofra. I would like to know from you is if you could give a public figure who you feel truly embodies the principles of authenticity or embracing who they are, who that person will be.
So there are a lot of people that I follow, which is people who are coaches, mentors, thought leaders, and they are authentic. See, also, I before I even answer this, there's just one thing. When we're talking about authenticity and being myself, um, it is also about, you know, it is about if it comes to expression or if it comes to how I'm showing up, it definitely the context is decisive, I would say. So who am I surrounded with? Who am I with? So now if there's somebody who's authentic, he's not going. Of course, the authenticity remains, but in the way I show up and express, there may be variations, when I am maybe with X number of people or X set of people, and when I'm with Y set of people, right? But by and large, the bigger question is, if with Namrata, I choose to be a certain way, am I going against myself? Is it me putting up some mask? Or am I just choosing to keep a certain part of it away? Like, I'm fine with it. So there's a difference between those two, putting up a mask and consciously choosing, so that way. So some of these mentors and all, when they coach and when they are talking about it, I know for a fact the journeys have been very difficult. They've gone through this whole journey of who they were and now how they are embracing themselves. And I think they are very, very vulnerable. And that is hugely powerful, I feel. That's very powerful. So there are a lot of people, Namrata, not one, but so many people that I see, people who I interact with on a daily basis, my coach, and there are other people, and people who I see online who I may not have met, but who are really embracing themselves, who inspire others. And yeah, and I think the biggest example is every time when I see little children, I think there's no better example than that. That is why we all love being surrounded with children. That is why every time we are with children, it's a different game altogether because they are their authentic self, and which also reinforces that we all love authenticity.
Yes. Asta, it was pleasure talking to you on what all can be done to become our authentic self. How do we embrace our true personality, our core frameworks that you shared? How can we connect with other people by being the real person that we are? Thank you so much for all the insights that you shared. I really enjoyed today's conversation.
My pleasure. Thank you for making the space for this to be created, because you were holding the space, you were bringing in stuff, and that's why we could together create this. So I'm really glad. I hope this was helpful, and thank you so much.